Hey everyone, welcome to our lesson on the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem is just simply a small little formula that helps us find missing pieces of triangles. For the side lengths, we will have 3 sides of our triangle and 2 will be legs and 1 is the hypotenuse. You're always going to know which side is the hypotenuse by either looking at the longest side or looking for the right angle symbol and looking at the side across from that symbol. This formula is only going to work for right triangles, so you'll always see that angle marking or an angle that looks to be the right angle. When you're trying to develop your formula and fill in your values and variables, you're going to fill in the leg side lengths for A and B. It really doesn't matter which one you put for A or B, but the hypotenuse always needs to go in for C so that this will work correctly. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples and practice this. Let's say we're looking at this right triangle here, and we have 3 and 4 for our leg lengths, and we don't know the hypotenuse. Here's our right angle, and most of the time it will be marked. So we're going to be on the lookout for that, so we know that the side across from that is the hypotenuse. So when we start to go fill in our formula, we're going to make sure we put our leg length values in for A and B and our hypotenuse value in for C. Alright, so let's take a look and find this missing hypotenuse here. Alright, so I have an A and a B given. That's 3 and 4. And I don't know C. So we're going to fill it in to A squared plus B squared equals C squared to help us find that missing side length. So I'm going to insert 3 here for A and 4 for B. And just use a little bit of algebra steps to solve and get that C by itself and solve for it. So 3 squared gives me 9, 4 squared gives me 16. And when I add those together on that left-hand side, I've got 25. I don't want to know what C squared is. I want to know what just plain old C is. So to undo that power of 2, I'm going to need to take the square root of both sides here. And when we do that, we know the square root of 25 is 5. So our missing hypotenuse length is 5 units. Sometimes they'll be marked with units such as inches or feet, and sometimes they won't, so we'll just call it units. Alright, next example, we are finding another missing side length here, and this time we're finding a missing leg. We have an A, B, and C value over here on the left. We're missing, we could really say A or B. You can choose, since it's a leg that's missing, you could put that missing variable in for A or B. Let's just put it in for B. Alright, so on the next screen we're going to work this out and find that missing leg length. So I've got 6 squared plus B squared, we don't know that one, was 10 in our picture. So this time we've got 36 plus B squared equals 100, and I've got to do a little bit of solving steps to get my B by itself this time. I'm going to remove this 36 over to the other side to get rid of that first. So I'll have B squared equals 64. And remember, we don't want to know B squared, we want to know B. So we're going to take the square root and have B equals 8. So that was our missing leg length on this triangle here. So you could always go back in if you want to and fill it in with your units. Alright, we have one more example. Sometimes they'll put a variable in for a missing leg or hypotenuse other than A, B, or C, but don't let that throw you off. You just want to insert that into the formula either for our leg values or our hypotenuse. So make sure if it's the hypotenuse that's missing, you do put that in for C, but the other two don't really matter. They can be A or B. So we have G here that's missing, and that's one of our legs, so we're going to put that in for either A or B. So let's just put it in for A. So we've got G squared plus our B was 12 and our C was 13. Let's go ahead and put that in, 13 squared. So I've got g squared plus 144 equals, let's come over here, do a little bit of side math over here. So I've got 9, so 169. Okay. All right, and we need to subtract our 144 over. So we can do that over here on the right-hand side. Both sides, we need to do everything we decide to do to both sides of our equation every time we're solving. So this gives us 25. And we don't want to know g squared, we want to know g. So we're going to take the square root and find that g is 5 because that is the square root of 25. So our missing side length was 5. We can go fill that in if we need to. All right, so remember, to recap a little bit, the Pythagorean theorem is used to find missing side lengths on our triangle, either the legs or the hypotenuse, and it's only going to work for right triangles. So when I know that I have a right triangle, I can use it. And in reverse, I know that if I'm trying to figure out if a triangle is a right triangle, I can use the theorem as well. If you put your side lengths into the theorem and you come up with a true statement, both sides are equal, then that is a right triangle. So this concludes our lesson on the Pythagorean theorem.